welcome to the Capital Review. I'm Nick Halter, and I'm joined today by Representative Kathy Brynaert. Kathy, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here, and thanks for inviting me, Nick.
And I'm guessing you got a little bit of sleep here after the session ended. We had a few all-nighters at the end of the session. It was just a very hectic ending to it. Although good debate was going on, can you give us kind of the key provisions of what happened as far as the budget goes at the end of the session?
Well, you talk about the pacing of the session. A lot of people asked me when I got home if I was really tired, and of course after 2 nights with no sleep I was tired, but overall, this is my 4th session, and I think I actually had the best sleep of any session because we had paced ourselves over the session very well. Remember, we passed our bonding bill very early. We passed our second jobs bill about the middle of the session. So I think even though we got in a little hectic rush at the end, and that was mainly because of the court case,
Right.
So that
2 weeks before the session ended, we had the unallotment case come back, saying that the unallotments that Governor Plenty had done last year were illegal, and that basically another $2 billion on the deficit.
That's exactly right, Nick. So that people are clear that we spent most of the session addressing a $934 million deficit, which came with the February forecast, and then with the court decision on the unallotment, we were addressing in a very short period of time, less than 2 weeks, that full $3 billion deficit. So it took a lot of work, and I'm very proud of our leadership for their persistence in coming to closure on this, even though certainly it's not a perfect resolution. Nevertheless, it has avoided a cash crunch for the state of Minnesota.
And, it was a tough budget, obviously, and I don't think anyone can hide how tough some of these cuts were, but you folks did prevent some of the harshest cuts from happening. You protected schools, nursing homes, veterans.
Well, and when people say we protected schools, I'm a little cautious about that because having been a school board chair and a board member for a number of years, I know the shift is costly for schools. Nevertheless, when we visited closely with school boards and superintendents, they did say they preferred the shift to a direct cut to the formula. So what the shift does is delay their payment. Instead of paying what we would normally pay, we're now paying 20% less in a year. But that will be made up. It's not a permanent, it's not a cut, it's a shift. So districts will have to borrow money, but it was the best we could do given the deficit we're facing. And we know it'll be difficult for schools, but we're trying to share the burden in a fair way. And you're right, we did work very hard to protect the interests of our elders and our disabled community. So long-term care has been protected from any direct rate cuts.
And I think that people can understand that the main reason why these deficits are existing is the poor economy, and that's having a big effect on the budget. And you folks came in here in February with that on your mind. There was 200,000 unemployed Minnesotans when you came in here. And like you said, there was a sort of a steady balance of work throughout the session, and right away you guys got going on a bonding bill and another jobs bill. Can you talk a little bit about those bills and what they're going to do for Minnesota?
Well, sure, Nick. We already are seeing with the bonding bill that the contracts have been let, jobs are underway. Many thousands of people are being put back to work. So it will help relieve the unemployment rate, at least in the near term. And that's very important in a slagging economy. We are seeing our job rates stabilize in some communities and even move upward in others. So I think our bonding bill has contributed to that. In Mankato, while our Civic Center expansion wasn't approved, it was vetoed by the governor, we did receive quite a bit of asset preservation funds for our universities, and that's very important for job creation in our community.
And the most recent economic stats that were out showed that we gained 10,000 jobs in the state of Minnesota in April, so there's some good signs there, I think.
Yes, we want to be not overly optimistic about the recession, but hopeful that the economy is on an upswing. So I hope that we'll all continue to work together to do our best to create a healthy economic environment for Minnesotans.
Well, Representative, we're going to be right back after a short break here, but we appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you in just a minute.